Isla, I'm here.
Come in.
Why is Walter here? Am I running late?
Buckle, stop worrying. We just came in early so we could finish our book.
Oh, okay, I have me worried, but I feel good now.
Well, now that you're here, let's start the show.
Hi. Welcome back. It's so nice to have you with us again today.
I wonder what Walter brought us today.
There it is.
Buckle, can you hold Walter while I go get the mail?
Absolutely. I can't wait for Isla to see what I sent her today. I hope she's not scared of this thing.
First up, we've got the craft.
Ooh, it says my help comes from the Lord. Very cool. And there's one for boys and girls to colour. I love that. Look at this.
I thought this was a real frog.
It's not a real frog, but do you know why I sent you a frog as today's mystery item?
I don't know.
Well, we might have to go take a look at the preach to find out. Okay, so I want to tell you a story about a time when I got my car stuck. So, a friend of mine and I decided that we wanted to go for a drive up a nearby mountain because we wanted to go and see the snow. And so we're driving up this mountain and the road was fine. We weren't up to the snow yet, but the ground on the side was wet because it had been raining. And so we're driving on all these back roads trying to figure out where to go, and we got a little bit lost. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to pull over to the side so that we can stop and figure out where we needed to go. But what I did was, instead of staying on the road on the side, I actually drove off the road onto a little embankment where the ground was wet. And so the road was here, and then there was an embankment like this, and then the mountain went up there. And so as I pulled off the side of the road, the car wheels got slippery, and I slid off the road, and the whole car got stuck in this V embankment, and I couldn't get it out. There was no way. The ground was too slippery. If we tried to spin the tires, they would have just dug into the ground. We were stuck. There was no way that we were going to be able to get the car out ourselves. And so we jumped out of the car and we stood on the side of the road and we're trying to figure out what to do, and there wasn't much phone reception to be able to call for help. And so we're standing there on the side of the road. What do we do? And a couple of minutes went by when all of a sudden we heard a noise, and there was a truck coming up the hill behind us. And the truck saw that we needed help. So he pulled over and he got out his big chain and hooked it to the back of his truck and to the front of my car, and he helped pull my car out of the ditch. You see, just like my car was stuck and I wasn't able to get it out, sometimes we can face moments in our lives where we feel stuck, where we feel like we're stuck in a situation or stuck in a problem or stuck in a challenge, and we don't know how to get ourselves out. But the good news is, and this is what we're going to learn a little later on, that God doesn't want us to feel stuck. God wants us to be able to live our life to its fullest. And so there's a story in the Bible when the entire Israelite people, all of God's people, were stuck. And God decided to send help so that he could get them out, just like my car got out of the ditch. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, Isla, let's have a look at this week's craft.
Okay, first what I did for the bottom, this time I did a different type of pattern. For each word, I did purple, green, purple, green.
Ah, it says, my help comes from the Lord. It's pretty awesome. And I see you colored your person in, which is pretty cool. But what prayer did you write? Because these are prayer cards, so we're learning that we can ask God for help.
I pray I can get better at school.
Oh, that's such a good prayer. We're allowed to ask God to help us do better at school, or maybe at sports, or with our friends. So many different things that we can pray for. But you know what else I love seeing?
All of your arts and crafts. They are wonderful and amazing.
It's true. So if you want to send in one of your arts or crafts or a colouring, something cool that you do, you can get your teacher or your pastor to email them to us using the email down below.
It's time for the Bible story. Buckle, will you read it for us this time?
Absolutely. This is Moses, one of the champions of the Bible. But when Moses was born, he was born in a place called Egypt when Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, had said that no Israelite boys were allowed to live there. But God did a miracle and saved Moses, who was adopted by the Pharaoh's daughter. He was raised in Pharaoh's house until one day, when he was older, he made a big mistake, and Pharaoh got so angry that Moses had to run away to a place called Midian. But while Moses was in Midian, God spoke to Moses through a burning bush and said, "Moses, I am sending you back to Egypt to free my people." You see, at the time, the Israelites were slaves in Egypt and the Pharaoh was treating them really badly. And so this is where we pick up the story. Moses and Aaron traveled back to Egypt and told the Israelite people that God had sent them to free them. And Moses showed them the miracles that God had taught him. After this, Moses and Aaron went to see Pharaoh. "Pharaoh," they said, "God has sent us to tell you to free the Israelite people." But the Pharaoh didn't obey God, and so God started sending plagues to Egypt. But every time a plague would come, the Pharaoh would get more angry and make the Israelite people work even harder. God sent a plague of frogs that swarmed over every part of the land, going into people's homes and bedrooms. He sent a plague of lice, little tiny bugs that crawled over everything. He sent a plague of locusts that came and ate all of the Egyptians' food. And he sent a darkness that covered the entire land of Egypt. But time and time again, the Pharaoh said no, until eventually God sent the last plague, where every single Egyptian family became sad because they all lost someone that they loved. At this point, the Pharaoh said, "Enough, leave." And so Moses and Aaron and all the Israelite people gathered their belongings and left Egypt. The thing I love about this story is that God could have done like a crazy miracle himself and just be like, "Poof, all the Israelites are free." But instead, God chose to use a person. He chose Moses and Aaron to be the ones on God's behalf to rescue the Israelite people. And then God used his power as well to send those plagues to finally convince the Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. You see, the thing is, when you feel stuck in your life, when God wants to get us out, sometimes he will send a person to help us, whether that's a friend, a teacher, a pastor, someone in our life who can come alongside us, who isn't stuck, that can help pull us out. Now, for you, that challenge might be that you're in a fight with a friend and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to make your friendship better. Maybe you're stuck with some schoolwork and you don't know what to do next, and it's something you don't know and you need help with. You see, we all have different things in our lives that can make us feel stuck. But just like in the story, Moses and Aaron went and rescued the Israelites. God wants to help you to get out of whatever it is that you feel stuck in. You see, the Bible actually says that there is nothing that is too difficult for God. There's nothing that is impossible for God. In other words, God can do anything. And so if you feel like your life's a little bit stuck or there's something you don't know what to do, did you know that you can ask God for help? You can pray and say, "God, I feel like I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with this friend that I'm fighting with, or I don't know what to do with my schoolwork, or maybe it's something else," and God can help us. But for those of you maybe who are watching this and you don't feel like your life is stuck, you feel like things are going great, maybe God wants you to be like Moses and find somebody else that you can help. Maybe today the prayer you need to pray is, "God, help me to find the people in my life who I can help, to encourage them and tell them it's going to be okay." Because this is what I want us to remember today. It's our big point, that God doesn't want you to feel stuck, that God wants to help you to live your life to its fullest.
That's why you sent me a frog.
That's right, because today we looked at the plagues of Egypt and one of them had frogs. But you know what it's time for now?
The Bible quiz.
The Bible quiz, that's right. We're going to ask you some questions from the Bible story. We're going to give you two possible answers. If you think the first answer is correct, put your hands on your
head.
And if you think the second answer is correct, put your hands on your
shoulders.
Here we go with question number 1. Moses went to speak with Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt. Who went with him? Was it Jordan or was it Aaron? You've got 5 seconds. Okay, Isla, what do you think the answer is?
Was it Aaron?
It was. Aaron went with Moses to speak with Pharaoh. Good job. Question number 2. With the plague of locusts, what did the locusts do? Did they eat all of the Egyptians' crops? Or did they buzz around the toilets? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, what do you think the answer is?
Did they eat the Egyptians' crops?
They did. They ate all the Egyptians' crops. Good job. And last question at the end of the story, did the Pharaoh let the Israelites go? Yes or no? You've got 5 seconds. Okay, Isla, what do you think the answer is?
Was it yes?
Yes, that's right. He let the Israelites go. Good job paying attention. You got all 3 correct. Did you get all 3 correct?
Thank you so much, Buckle, for coming to hang out with me in my playroom.
It was amazing. I had so much fun. And thank you for joining us this week as well. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.